Welcome to Chapter 14 and the circulation and blood vessels. Blood vessels will be in a separate section. So what are we going to do? Again, we'll only go through the first three items. The rest of them will be in a separate section. So looking at blood circulation, there are essentially two circulatory systems: the cardiopulmonary, that goes from the heart to the lungs and back, and the systemic, which goes from the heart to the body and back. But there are three very specialized circulatory systems that we will look at today. First of all, the cardiopulmonary. We get blood that does not have oxygen coming from the heart, going to the lungs, where it picks up oxygen, dumps off the carbon dioxide, and then comes back. Here is an example of drawing of how that works. You can see blood going from the, pick a color, from the heart out to the lungs. Oh, sorry, drawing the wrong one. There we go. Out to the lungs, splitting right there, and then coming back after going through a capillary bed where it enters into the left atrium of the heart. Systemic circulation. It circulates those nutrients, oxygen, whatever the body needs out to the body, dumps off that payload, and then carries back to the heart those waste products. It also helps equalize body temperature. If you've got a lot of blood flow to an area, that area is warmer. We'll also look more in detail about how it protects your body from infections. And here's a stylized version of that, where you've got blood leaving the heart right here, going out to the body. It's in the capillary beds where all of that magic happens, where you get the good stuff getting unloaded and the bad stuff getting loaded to be shipped off. After the capillary beds, comes back to the heart, entering into the atrium, the superior and inferior vena cava. Now, those specialized circulatory systems, the first one was the coronary. The blood is, the heart is an organ just like any other area of the body, and it needs oxygen and nutrients and waste products taken away just like any other area. So let's look at that. Here we have an example of the heart. On the left side we have, you know what, I'm going to go on green because that shows up better against a red heart. We have the atrial system. It exits the aorta. It's the first thing that comes off the aorta, the first branch, even before it goes to the left and right side of the body, or the inferior and superior sides. And it will basically encapsulate the whole heart as it feeds and gives nutrients. It also has a venous return. Right here, you can see in the blue how that meets up, collecting or giving a way to return to the heart the blood that now has carbon dioxide and other waste products. It will collect in the sinoatrial node before dumping into the atrium. This is something that is a little different, which you may not suspect. It's called portal circulation. It's a branch of the general circulation that goes out to the entire body, but it's kind of like a little detour. Veins that are coming back from, if you'll notice, a lot of these are involved with the digestive system, the stomach, the small intestine, the colon, the spleen. All of these items, the veins that are coming back from them will first collect and then go through the liver. A couple of reasons. First of all, to monitor glucose, and then also to be able to detoxify components that might be in that returning blood. Here's a diagram here where you can see how that venous system coming off of those organs will meet up in that hepatic portal vein, where it will again go through almost like a capillary bed, but basically it's so that the liver can screen all of that blood coming from those organs. When it finishes its journey through the liver, it will go into the inferior vena cava and then be returned to general circulation. Fetal circulation. This is fascinating. This happens in unborn babies or a fetus. They have a very specialized circulatory system. It needs to obtain all of that oxygen and nutrients from the mother's blood and not through its own lungs and own digestive system. Something interesting to note, the fetal blood and the maternal blood do not mix. There is an exchange at the placenta where gases, food, etc. coming in from the mother's blood are exchanged against a concentration gradient, going with a concentration gradient, I should say, into the fetus, and waste from the fetus flows down a concentration gradient into the mother's blood. Their blood does not mix. Now, that means that there are some very interesting things going on in babies. And the biggest one is right here. It may not be the biggest object on this diagram, but it is fascinating. Right there in the center, babies have a hole in their heart. It's called the foraminal valve or the oval foramen. Baby's blood does not need to go to the lungs. It's not going to the lungs to get oxygen in it. It already has oxygen. So why bother with the ventricles? As blood comes in from the mother through oxygenated blood comes in from the placenta, yes, through that umbilical cord. Notice it's oxygenated. It's red. It enters the right atrium, but instead of going through the right ventricle and out to the lungs, it will go through that foraminal valve, and then when the heart contracts, it will then go out to the body. Now, babies have this hole in their heart, and in a normal development, it closes up shortly after birth. In some infants, this does not happen, and they have to have a surgery. And again, that is something that they will check for so that that problem gets resolved quickly, or the baby could die. Some interesting other things to note. You notice that it will come in here and it enters the baby's body through the umbilical cord, and this is oxygenated blood now. Going through, it seems similar to that hepatic portal system because it's going through the liver and then into the venous return. Then goes to the heart, skipping through that ventricles and then going out through the aorta and to the rest of the body. So that is the way that the oxygenated blood gets out to the baby in the fetus. You'll notice here in the return, there is a little detour here in that fetal blood as it's returning. It will go out to the fetus out to the placenta to be able to unload its waste products and then pick up oxygen, and then comes back through the umbilical cord to deliver the oxygen and nutrients to the baby. That is an introduction to those circulatory systems and this chapter 14 of circulation. Good luck, and if you have any questions, I'm always just an email away.